So, what's the right thing to do? Sit with it. How do you feel? How do you want, what's your official response? Still angry today? Still angry the next day? And you're letting a lot of this crap out. And that's what this summer is for you, is going to be a lot like letting a lot of crap out. Hello, my friend and earthly neighbor, and welcome to another fabulous week in the jolly month of June. And this week, things take a turn. We wrap up intense Gemini and shift very quickly into Cancer. In fact, we have a new moon this week in only 2 degrees of the Cancer realm. What Sensei says is, this is going to be a very moody new moon. From my smartphone to yours, keep streaming for your weekly Namaste today. Welcome to Namaste Today, a colorful way to begin your day. I'm your heartfelt host and the Sensei to serious joy, Christopher Witecki. Welcome back, dear friend. Namaste. Well, this week we will transition into Cancer. In fact, it's going to be a moody week. We begin with very intense wrap-up of Gemini, then we drop down to 0 degrees, and then we get super emotional and have a new moon at the end of the week. So hold on to your seats. I told you last week was boring and to be thankful for it. This week will be a bit of a water side. So in our upcoming segment this week, I'm going to walk you through the moodiness of the week. And then later in our tea time, for all 12 signs, we're going to look at this moody new moon. But first, let's take a look at the week's moods and your zodiac weather. The zodiac weather is from Monday, June 19th to Friday, June 23rd, 2017. Looking at your 5-day moodcast. Well, looking at the week in a glance, the week starts off very intense, then gets very sleepy Wednesday, Thursday, then gets very emotional Friday, Saturday. Let's drill down. On Monday, it's sunny and amped up as the moon moves into Taurus and you get ready to go and fire off your great ideas. On Tuesday, it's Love Fest Day. It's cloudy, but it's also productive, and it's also the final test of your thoughts moving to step 0. On Wednesday, it's cloudy and super spacey as the Sun and Mercury both conjunct but under step 0, so sort of absent-minded. On Thursday, it's sunny and pensive as we start to come online with step 1 and begin to feel our emotions. And then Friday, it's cloudy and super emotional. It's a new moon at step 2. Expect it to be quiet and expect energy to be offline. Well, looking at the week ahead, we have a moody week, and I want to talk you through the ending of one story into the beginning of another. So let's take a look at the next segment this week. Taking a peek at the upcoming week, I coined this week Addressing My Moodiness, because that's what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a very moody week. We come out of Gemini, we go into Love Fest, then we go into 0 degree Cancer, and then we have a new moon. Very intense, up, down, kind of high drama. So get your pacifiers, you know what I mean, or your flotation devices. But I don't think it'll be horrible. I just think it's going to be intense, especially after last week, which was super slow and super anal and kind of focused. And let me walk you through the week and tell you what you can expect and what to focus on. Now, for starters, on Monday, we're sunny and we are amped up. We're at step 28 and 29 of Gemini. And for people who do a lot of thinking, the 28th and 29th degree of Gemini is extremely intense. It's just like the phone ringing off the hook, text messages coming, just information coming in all sides. And the moon is in Taurus, so we're emotionally trying to feel better and get things done. So the week starts off almost in a rush, okay? Like we're out of time for something. Tuesday, we actually shift. We start in the 29th degree, but then at the end of the day, we go to step 0. So we're in these 2 steps per day right now during the summer, which makes the days feel a lot longer because it's like we live 2 whole stories. So on Tuesday, you're still doing step 29, still trying to keep up on that treadmill, and then all of a sudden that night, it's like we slide into home base with 0 degrees. Now, the thing about this also on Tuesdays, while we're still amped up and sliding into 0 degree, it's Love Fest Day. So you're going to feel a lot of this love. This Love Fest Day is in Taurus, one of my favorite Love Fest days because I'm a Taurus, which means we'll really be feeling the love even though we're super amped up and trying to process all this information. So Tuesday is very electric, very productive. Cloudy and productive is what I put. Wednesday, though, is cloudy and absolutely spaced out. So after all that intensity that we have on Tuesday, almost feels like a Valentine's Day intensity, kind of similar energy actually, we go to flat 0, nothing. Mercury goes to step 0. The Sun goes to step 0 too. They conjunct. So the Sun and Mercury actually conjunct at the 0 degree, which almost is kind of like a wiping out. That's almost like I look as an erasing of our Cancer emotional energy. And I think that's really what the universe is doing. I think we've been doing so much work that it's now time to build a new feeling of what it's like to be us. Because after all the changes we made with ego in Aries and productivity in Taurus and our thinking changing in Gemini, it's now time to feel different about our life. So I find it very interesting that Mercury and the Sun are conjuncting at step 0 right at the beginning on Wednesday. From a practical sense, that means you're just going to be way spaced out, okay? And the Moon moves into Gemini later that day too, so that just adds even more spaciness by the end of the day. So don't operate heavy machinery on Wednesday. People are going to be on another planet. You might get some kooky cool ideas though, or have some phenomenal dreams. That would be cool. Thursday we come online, we're at step 1. The Moon's in Gemini. It's sunny, but we're very pensive. So we kind of come out of our coma on Thursday. And basically once we come out of our coma, we start feeling around for how our life is. This is the Sun in Cancer, which means this is about how our life feels and how we want our life to feel. But by Thursday night, we go to step 2 Cancer, okay? And that actually is the step of the new moon. And so Thursday night, there might be showers. There might be a breakdown. Considering it's been a whole year since we've faced our emotions as a species, it's highly likely that we have a lot of dumping to do. So I would not be surprised if a lot of people cry or people come up, end up fighting because they need to cry. People hurt themselves, and then they need to cry. Like, there's a lot of release that's going to probably have to happen, and it may happen as soon as Thursday night. Friday is actually the new moon, technically. It's a step 2 new moon, and so I think it's going to be a very emotional and a very sappy new moon. I think that this is the step 2 new moon is as low as it gets in Cancer. That's the Grandmaster step number of Cancer. So it means that our base feelings, we're reprogramming our base feelings. Base feelings are like where you come from, what it feels like to be you, what feels like home. These are all basically base feelings, not elaborate feelings of love and intimacy and joy and that sort of thing. Very, very, very simple base feelings. And so I think for a lot of people who've been way out of whack, anyone who's been way out of whack, this new moon is going to totally bring you back down to square one and be like, you just need to feel good or be healthy or, a base feeling. But for those who've been working really hard on their stuff all year and have been growing in Aries and changing their thinking in Gemini, I think what's going to happen is there'll probably be a release. You'll probably have some sort of needing to let go, okay, of what this has been. And then in that feeling comes the feeling you want, which is what the new moon is. That you want to feel this way moving forward in life, and you want to feel this way. So this feels like a kind of crybaby new moon, okay? But I'm saying it's okay, because we have to kind of cry and pat ourselves on the back and nurture ourselves for what we've been through so that we can know where we want to go next. And what we're doing is we're building a new emotional foundation with the Sun in Cancer, basically a new home that we come from, a new emotional place that we come from. And so on Friday, we're already defining what the root of that needs to be. I don't normally go past Friday, but I will talk about Saturday and Sunday this week, because Saturday will then be schizophrenic happy again. Okay, so Saturday will be super happy. The flowers will be out. You'll be feeling spring. Everything should be good. And then Sunday, breakdown. So we're back in the pit. So this week is a very Charlie Brown shirt. We're up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But I think a lot of this is to just get in touch with our feelings, get in touch with our moodiness. And that's what I want to leave you with. It's really observe your feelings. Observe your moodiness. Do you want to continue feeling this way, or do you not want to continue feeling this way? We tend to think that we're stuck feeling a certain way the rest of our life, and that is absolutely not true. That's one of the things I am here to help you find out. So I want to get a little deeper here. Go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our weekly tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is moody new moon. We have a very moody new moon going on this Friday, and you may encounter your moodiness before the new moon or during the new moon. And either way, I want to give you the same advice. You have to respond differently. This new moon on Friday is really to plant a seed, a new emotional seed, from which all of your emotions grow. Step 2, Cancer, is the seed to all emotion. It's basically the emotional disposition we're born with, okay? So we're having an opportunity to replace that emotional seed. And of course, to replace it, you have to discover it. And one thing about emotion is, when it takes over, it tends to take us for a ride. And we don't even realize we're experiencing emotion until we've done something stupid or yelled at someone or whatever. I mean, that's what we're trying to do, is become more aware, especially these really deep root emotions. So this week is a week of discovering what makes you moody, what really is the seed to your moodiness, and replacing that seed with a magic bean, some sort of mood response that's going to be the seed of your new emotional security rather than your emotional fears, worry, or whatever it is. So I'm going to go in for all 12 signs real quick today and talk about where this new moon is and discuss just for a minute how each of the signs actually generate their moodiness from. This will be very interesting for people if you don't know, because each sign is moody for a different reason, basically is what I'm saying, and you'll get to learn that. The other thing I want to say is you probably want to pay attention to your rising sign, if you know your B story, your rising sign, the story of who you're becoming, because this is a fated moment. Removing our emotional seed and replacing it with another one is something that maybe happens 3 times in our life. I don't know. I'll have to do a study sometime. So that usually is heavily indicated in the rising sign chart. So check your natal and check your rising. I'm betting the rising is more profound than the natal in this particular case. So as always, let's start with our purebred humans, the Aries. Aries, you are literally removing an emotional seed you were born with. This is probably abandonment or betrayal or, self-sacrifice. Whatever the core Cinderella issues were in your home, and I don't know the male equivalent of Cinderella, but there is one, emotionally, you had a certain seed. That seed was you have to take care of everyone or not take care of everyone or take care of yourself. I mean, whatever that seed was, it's time to replace that seed. It's time to give you an emotional seed that you can grow and prosper with, that you can thrive with instead of trying to survive with. Okay, so this is about planting self, and what you do is you kind of plant the opposite. So if you were abandoned and that was your old seed, now your new seed is you're found, okay? And you're found by you. So plant the opposite of what you came. That will at least neutralize it, and we can grow from there. If you happen to know of a higher one like gratitude, we'll go for it. But don't try to run before you walk, okay? That's a very Aries thing to do. Taurus, you're planting a new seed of thought. So Tauruses tend to have an emotional prejudice. That's the truth. Tauruses have moody minds. And that's why Tauruses can be very compassionate with their mind and very, very caring with their thoughts. And that's why they can all of a sudden get crazy and charge, okay? Is because their mind set them up. And a lot of the Taurus issue with emotion in the mind is worry. Tauruses spend a lot of time at worry. So if you're a worry Taurus, okay, I would say this is a good transit to pull up that worry seed and replace it with another emotional seed, which is I am nurtured, I am fine, or how am I? Instead of worrying, let's just go do the math. How am I? How am I feeling? So Tauruses are creating a new attitude by replacing their seed emotional thought. Geminis, Geminis have a seed emotional thought about what they're worth, okay? They may go thinking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth about what they're worth, but it comes down to feeling like they're worth it or not feeling like they're worth it. This is one of the areas that elude Geminis because they assume that it's all intellectual, but our consciousness has all the states working together. So Geminis quite often will have a emotional seed of unworthiness, due to all these, and then they add all these details because my teeth are crooked and this and that and this and that. But before they found all those details, the astrology says there was a seed of feeling a certain way or not feeling a certain way as far as what your value is concerned. And because it's material, you let a lot of material things influence it. So let's say you were born feeling poor or you were born feeling low in value. I would say this new moon would be replanting that with saying, I am abundant and I am priceless, and finding that feeling and planting that seed to be your new foundation. Leos, your emotion is actually in your faith. And I have a Leo rising, and I got to tell you, this is tough. Like, we have faith. Leos and Leo risings have faith if we feel it. Okay? If we don't feel it, we can't do our thing. And it's like, so you either feel it or you don't feel it. That's how really Leos go with it. And so Leos, more than any sign, actually have past life reasons for their seeds of emotion. So Leos feel fabulous because in a past life they're fabulous, and now they're remembering that from a feeling, basically. So these are past life seeds usually, and it can be anything because it's subconscious. So this new moon might be reversing any feeling you were born feeling at all under the spectrum. Abandoned, lost, rich, poor, blah, blah, blah. Whatever negative feeling is, it's time to replace it with a new seed of what you are, which will bring yourself to feeling faithful. So once you pull up that bad emotional seed, you will feel faithful. Virgos, you actually do a lot of your emotional seeding from how useful you are in the world. This is why Virgos turn into slaves and servants, because they are caught up on feeling good about themselves if they have a purpose in the world or not, okay? And so, the reversal of this would be your purpose in the world is to be you, and then you will feel good. So what you have to do is engineer a new seed saying, I don't have to be a value, I don't have to fix things, I don't have to be the super grand healer to feel good in the world. I'm going to place the seed of I feel good. I have to feel good about being me before I can feel good in the world. So you almost had a hierarchy there. Libras, believe it or not, their feelings are all caught up in their legacy. They're like the most resume sign there is. If their resume is not good, they feel bad. Okay, like Libras let the outcome, they are the judgmental sign, they let the outcome affect how they feel. All right. This is why Libras have to be usually in the business of feeling good, helping other people feel good, because your whole feeling base as a Libra comes from your legacy and your parenting and what you're doing officially for the world. So for you, you might have been raised with high expectation, like, Papa, Dad, and Mom wanted you to be, Supreme Court judge or something like that. And so you've always felt inadequate because you're not there, always felt incapable or that sort of thing. And again, I would replace that with an opposite, that like there will be no future legacy unless I feel good. There will be no career unless I feel good. So, so successful career means feeling good first. Successful career means feeling successful before you find the success. So you kind of reverse the order in which you put your priorities. Scorpios' emotions come from their beliefs, believe it or not. So a Scorpio and belief is experience on earth too. It's not just what you studied, it's what you've experienced. So if a Scorpio feels like, if they feel that they've seen this bullshit before, okay, like they feel they've experienced this before, that triggers a lot. And so the point is that Scorpio's emotional seed gets polluted by their experience. And so it's hard for Scorpios to give the world a clean break because their seed is based on their experience and their experience only. So I think in this new moon, you have to create a new emotional seed where it's like, I'm going to feel I believe in myself despite what's happened in the future. I mean, in the past, right? And despite what happens in the future, I'm going to feel good. I'm going to feel like I believe in myself. I'm not going to let the way it's been done, the way they've been told, the way history books write. I'm not going to let my collective consciousness affect my feeling. I'm going to come up with a feeling and then put it into my consciousness, if that makes sense. Sagittarius, your emotions actually come from sex. Seriously. I mean, that's true. I mean, if you know Sagittarius, they do make quite often good pirates and good sailors, right? And that's because they got Cancer in the 8th house. A lot of their feelings only come out in very intimate settings. It's not just sex, it's also just close alone home with somebody. Like, you don't, until you get the Sag absolutely alone, you don't really know how they feel about things. They need that privacy. And as a result, your core seed that you're replacing could be based on a lot of things. It could be based on feeling like you don't trust yourself versus feeling like you do trust yourself. Feeling like you don't trust the world or feeling like you do trust the world. Feeling like you don't trust men or feeling like you do trust men. So depending on your childhood and whatnot, your seed emotion may be tied to some sort of trust or intimacy or sexual thing. And in this new opportunity, new moon, you have an opportunity now to say, you know what, I'm not going to make my sacred root is going to be myself alone with myself, caring for myself. That's my new sacred root. Or the opposite of whatever it is that you have been facing your whole life. So it has to be, so for Sagittarius, it has to be emotionally, your seed has to do with what you can trust emotionally. What do you trust emotionally? What is sacred emotionally to you? What you trust should be your new seed, okay? Capricorn's emotions really stir from relationships. They seem like solid mountains that can not get moved, but if their spouse is upset with them, they're a mess. Okay, they're a total mess. They emotionally generate, and that's because Capricorns are very emotional about their opinion with themselves. In fact, a Capricorn is very much into being this big mountain, climbing this mountain, doing these great things, and that's where they get excited. How do you think a Capricorn is so ambitious? It's because in the background, they're getting off on how it feels to be them. Okay, they love what it feels to be them. They love what it feels to be ambitious. They love what it feels to do whatever it is. Now, a lot of times growing up, parents or whatever corrupted that core feeling about yourself with yourself. And so your root emotional intention really has to do with how you feel about yourself. And you want to plant a new feeling, a new positive feeling about how you feel about yourself, and gently work to that goal. Or again, reverse whatever it is you were born under. But it has to do with your feelings about yourself, with yourself, which turn into also relationships. But first it's marriage. Aquariuses, believe it or not, they get very emotional about work in daily life. That's the weird thing. Aqua's stone cold. They can make a decision to start nuclear, war for. Okay, they have the ability to make the cold decision. But when they're actually at work in the hospital or at work in the science room, they're emotional basket cases. If you don't know, they're very hard to deal with. They're just they're not easy to work with. No offense, guys. It depends on how well you have, felt valuable at work, felt valuable in the day, felt valuable in the moment. Your seed, it has to do with performance, basically, for Aquariuses. So a lot of your seed could have been hurt by bad performance, injury, that sort of thing, being laughed at in drama class, that sort of thing. So this is about how you want to feel in the moment. That's the root seed. That's the root seed that you're planting on the new moon. How do I want to feel in the moment? How do I want to feel as base ground level of life, no matter where I'm at, work, the water slides, with my family, and that's what you want to do, and maybe reverse the way you were raised. And then finally, Pisces. Pisces feelings comes from the heart, actually. They're the one sign where their feelings all come from the heart, which is why Pisces get so confused, because their heart loves everybody, and they don't want to let their heart down, and they don't want to let anyone else's heart down. And so a lot of Pisces issues of their emotions at large come from that relationship to their heart. Is it a bruised heart? Is it a happy heart? Did they have a happy childhood or a sad childhood? What's the inner child relationship like? The seed of all their moodiness comes from that relationship to the heart. And so if you and your inner child have not been friends, or you have let everyone stomp all over your inner child, you have not been a good guardian to your inner child, this new moon will be, okay, a new feeling of how you're going to treat your inner child, a new feeling of how your inner child will live day to day. Does the inner child feel like it's living in a trailer park, on the edge of a dirty town? Or does it feel like it's living in a trailer park on the edge of a clean town? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying trailer park is bad, but I am saying that it's time to emotionally identify what your happy seed is, what your happy inner child emotion is, and that's the root seed, I think, to go with for Pisces. So I hope this has made sense. I went way deep here for you. I want to help all 12 signs. But this week in your moodiness, identify what makes you moody. Try to identify the root of that moodiness, which I've kind of gone over here, where that moodiness roots. And then try to reverse that moodiness root with a new positive emotional seed. Either way, I think the circumstances of life will force us through it this week. In other words, if we had a hurt childhood or whatever, and you're a Pisces, you might find on the new moon something reminds you of a hurt of your childhood pain, and the reminder of that will cause you to go this way anyways. I think universe handles the lesson whether you watch with techie or not. Now that said, if you would like some personal guidance day by day, hour by hour, check out my personal Sensei service. I have finally reached version 2.0. I'm giving a great deal. You can try it for a whole month for $3.99. That gives you plenty of time to cancel if you don't like it. I doubt you'll cancel just because people love this kind of assistance all the time. 7 days a week, I'm always with you. Check it out at seriousjoy.com. All right, my friend, such a benefit to be of service to you. I'm so grateful that you share me with your friends and family. I'm so grateful that you show up every week. I'll be back next week with more. Until then, remember, I love you, and to live, love, be.
So